everybody, Dan Sfera, www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Today I wanted to talk to you about clinical trials, why they're important. I'm not here telling you, that you should join a clinical trial. I just want you to better understand what they are, why they're important, and how it helps us progressively find better treatments and make breakthroughs, medical breakthroughs, for different types of medical conditions and things like that. So anyways, today I had a headache. I took a Tylenol, and it kind of inspired this post. At one point in time, that Tylenol was an investigational product for a clinical trial. I don't know when. I didn't Google it or anything. I just, I thought it would be a nice illustration to help me make my point. You don't know what drug will be a success, like a Tylenol or a Viagra or anything else like that. These are blockbuster drugs, You don't know what will be a successful drug unless you do clinical trials. And we can't do clinical trials unless we don't have study participants who volunteer their time for, helping us gather data so that we can see which drugs work and which don't. And there's nothing wrong with joining a clinical trial for your own personal reasons. Some people join clinical trials just to make money. And I've said it before. There's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of like a taboo thing in the industry where you're like, oh, well, people can't be joining clinical trials just to get paid, can they? Yeah, it happens all the time. It happens a lot. It happens in the healthy volunteer studies where there's obviously no real benefit to joining a clinical trial if you're healthy other than making a lot of money. And we're going to interview somebody this week who does nothing but clinical trials, maybe 12 or 13 clinical trials per year, and makes about $50,000 a year salary doing clinical trials. Nothing wrong with that. He's helping science. He's helping us figure out, well, not us. I'm not really part of the industry. I work in the industry, but I'm not actually developing the drugs. But anyways, he's helping the drug companies better understand the side effects of the drug, the short-term side effects, the long-term side effects. He's helping provide some data. Without people like that, we could never get past phase 1. And then you've got people who actually have the medical conditions that the drug would target, doing phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 studies. And for the most part, these people are looking for better treatments. They're looking to also give back to future sufferers of their medical condition. But really, these people are usually looking for better treatments for themselves. Maybe nothing else works for them. Maybe they're tired of the side effects that they're getting from their current drugs, and they want to try something new that they've heard may potentially have fewer side effects. So they're going to try that. And sometimes these people just want to have a little bit more control of their medical treatment. So they say, hey, maybe I'll join a clinical trial. I'll at least get a better understanding of whether this drug works for me. I'll get a better understanding of, whether this drug will be better tolerated by me. And then if it ever does pass clinical trials and come out on the market, I'll know right away that I need to be on that medication. Or maybe I'll learn that, this drug doesn't work for me, but I'd still like to maybe, try it, help future sufferers of my condition, and hey, I get compensated for my time and travel, so it's not like I'm, making any out-of-pocket expenses for this. So all these reasons are valid reasons, and this is why we have the clinical trials industry. Without you study participants out there, and in the United States, there's 20 million of you out there, so thank you very much for your time and for your contributions. Without you guys, none of this would be possible. So thank you all for doing that. And next time one of you hears about a clinical trial, don't immediately dismiss it and say, oh, that's only for guinea pigs or lab rats. I want you to really do your homework. I want you to really start by going online and researching as much as you can about that particular drug, that particular compound, that particular medical device. Find out what drugs it's similar to, what the biological pathways are, and then compare it to drugs on the market, and then go with that information, go and ask your doctor, go and get a second, third, fourth, fifth opinion, talk to experts talk to other patients who may have tried that study or tried those particular compounds, and see, then you can make an informed decision about whether you should participate in a trial. Don't just join a trial expecting a miracle, because for the most part, you won't really achieve that. I mean, in clinical trials, the point of doing the study is not to treat you, it's to find better treatments for the future. And if we do find a treatment that does work for you, um, it's kind of like a byproduct of the clinical trial. It's not the point. The purpose of the trial is to collect data, not to necessarily get you better. But it does happen a lot where people join clinical trials and they get better, or at least they see significant improvement in their medical conditions. So I'm not saying that it's impossible. It really depends on your condition, what you're expecting, the type of trial that you're joining, and things like that. So if you're joining a phase 1 study, they're obviously looking for side effects. They're not really looking to see if they can provide a better treatment for you. But if you join a phase 3 or phase 4 study, they really are trying to see whether this drug is effective. And because at this point they already understand the side effects, so they're just trying to see if it's effective. So you may get a lot of benefit from that. So, unless you really know what you're getting into, and there's no way of knowing unless you do your homework, research as much as you can, talk to people, engage. That's the only way you can make a truly informed decision. But, to the 20 million Americans out there doing clinical trials, thank you very much. We are getting progress, and, I was able to take a Tylenol today and cure my headache because of people like you 20, 30 years ago. I don't know when they did clinical trials for Tylenol, but I'm imagining it was about 30 years ago. So thank you. And that's just an example of clinical trials being successful. And of course, there's examples of clinical trials that are failures. But really, no one can tell you why you should or shouldn't join a clinical trial without knowing what you want to get out of it. And that's the whole point of this. So hopefully this helps demystify clinical trials a little bit. I'd love to hear from all of you, and I know Don's going to do another video about this. So we'd love to hear your feedback. www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Once again, www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thanks a lot.